we're in the middle of this pandemic, and for so many of us, our lives, I know for me, it feels like, oh wow, and I hate to say this, but I feel like I kind of missed out on 8 months of my life. And, and I'm thinking about my mom who's 92, and I'm like, she doesn't have a year to give to being shut in the house. You know what I mean? Like she should be out and about this year, because she's 92 and she can still get around. But it's like now it's 8 months shaved off of her, remaining years, which really pisses me off. And that's also what's happening with so many of the athletes, and also happening with dancers. Misty, you are still dancing, but you've been, you've had some recent surgeries and injuries and things like that. Are you worried about this cutting into the prime of your years in ballet? Are you worried about that?
Yeah, I've always been someone that just tries my best to go with things, to go with the flow of life, because there's so much that we can't control. And so I feel like all that I can control is my happiness and how I find new ways to move forward and be creative and still push the limits of, of the ballet world and the conversations we're having. And so I feel like this has been a moment for me to use my voice and to use my platform in a different way, to be able to have a new dialogue. I think that this pandemic is actually something that's going to teach the ballet world a huge lesson. It already is. But we are now being forced to have a virtual presence, which is going to connect us to such a broader and more diverse audience. I think that having Black Lives Matter, happen in this time, the ballet world is actually being forced to step back and see how they contribute to systemic racism. And so I feel like if we were still performing in theaters, it would be on the back burner, these conversations. Yes. So, I think that's the silver lining that I see in this. And I think that we're going to come out smarter and stronger and more open.